we've had so far more than 800 people have either written to us or gone on our website and backed our thing, which I think is fantastic. We need everyone to do it who's interested in this.
It's good, but it's a sort of start, isn't it? I mean, we need to get thousands, and certainly what needs to open up is the range of what could be discussed with the options here, because it looks like when they say, look, here are 4 separate routes, that they really are talking about all sorts of different options, but they don't strike me as options, and that's what I think needs to happen, is we need to get the main option on the table, which is the potential for using the technology which they're using in other parts of the world, all over the place, and not to confuse it with the difficulties that they've had, say, in either putting underground cables in London or in putting it in rocky parts of the Highlands. You know, it seems to me that we're a different kettle of fish.
Do you think that they've put forward these 4 options to try and sort of bamboozle people and sort of say,
well, if I were
divide
them,
and conquer?
If I were them, I guess you'd do it that way, wouldn't you? The hope that if you can get a load of people to say, oh yeah, let's go for option 2, as long as it doesn't come near here, then you've essentially overrun. But I have to say that what we're getting is a bit of a backlash to local opposition groups, because consultation processes can be organised to make it sound as if we're consulting, because they know they have to consult, but there's a sort of foregone conclusion before it starts, you know, and it's just a way of saying, yeah, we did consult, look, we've got all these bits of paper to show that we did it. The truth is that this is a really serious threat to the countryside of Suffolk, and it needs everybody in Suffolk to concern themselves with it and say, what are we going to do? This is something that will blight the countryside for the next 500 years.
I mean, yeah, this is not just affecting the villages and towns that could be located near these new pylons. It's affecting everyone in the county. We rely on tourism. We rely on lots of tourism.
I mean, there are good economic reasons for it, but there's also the sound and the straightforward ways that I know people find this very difficult to believe because we're always in a state of worry, we're always in a state of emergency, we're always in a state of panic. That's the life that we're constantly presenting ourselves with. But we have become a richer and a more sophisticated society over the last 50 years. In many respects, we've had a very successful country. We've been a successful country, and as a successful country, we need to be aware that we have certain things of great value in Britain, which we all collectively need to do what we can to preserve. Because every time we hack away a little bit and say, we have to do this, it's got to be done now, there's an emergency here, it's this business that the government uses continuously of delaying making decisions and then presenting them as an emergency.
And you said you don't want people to look back on this as the generation that basically sort of sold off our countryside to National Grid.
Yeah. I mean, that was something that was done. There was an enormous amount of effort went on behalf of a huge number of conservation bodies and organisations and Greenbelt and national parks and so on to make us aware of what we were losing in the 30s when a blight of development spread across Britain. And people like John Betjeman and so on ran huge campaigns to make people aware of the awfulness with which sort of garages and suburbs and roads were just spreading willy-nilly. And people then said, yeah, no, we need to do something about it. And we're now getting to a state where we can so easily slip back into that under new pressure. There's always a sort of sense that we have to move on, we have to do something. We can't be like this where we haven't got enough of this or we haven't got enough of that. We haven't got enough countryside to be able to be quite so sort of cavalier with it.
Yeah.